I'm just gonna start like this and how it is with this picture. So this drawing here, I actually drew when I was around like 17 years old. So like my senior year of high school. This was one of the art assignment classes I took, and this is like a comic cover of like of any issue number. And so I decided to have the first one because obviously it's just like there's no first one. How can you do a second one? So this right here, it was Kiwi. That was the label, and it was $4.17. Obviously, it's not that much. I mean, it's probably worth nothing. But this is the issue number 1, and it was called Dark Days. It was supposed to be a bit like edgy, but as you can see, I wasn't very good at lighting. You know, I was like, that's a candle. It's supposed to light him up. Obviously, it didn't do that job correct, but this is it. This is the drawing. This is the drawing that I'm gonna redraw today because I stare at it every day and it bothers me. That lighting bothers me. So to kind of just get like more into depth about that little poster that I showed you. So that poster, like I said, was back when I was 17 years old. So I took this class. It was like an art class. It was just like an elective because it was like my very first art class that I really took because it was like more like a self-taught artist. And I was really curious on how that would go. So we did tons of assignments. It was very interesting just because of how the teacher taught. Now, I kind of didn't like the class. Like the teacher was cool. I really liked him. He was a really good artist. You know, he was chill. He really enjoyed talking to the students. The only problem was that he would extend the assignment. So let's say he gave us a week to do an assignment. He'd extend it for 2 more weeks, depending on how far people were. And a lot of the people in that class were kind of like they didn't care. You know, they were kind of just there to hang out. So a lot of them didn't really do the assignments until like last minute or so because they knew the teacher was going to extend it, so they really pushed it, and sometimes it get kind of boring. Because let me tell you, like class feels long when there's really no one to speak to. Like I mean, there was a couple that I spoke to, but we weren't like, yeah, how's it going? You know, it's been a while. You know, like it wasn't like that, unfortunately. So I was pretty bored 99% of the times in the class once I was done with the assignments, but I just kind of be there just drawing. You know, like what else can I do really once I'm done? Now, the assignment, the comic assignment, that one was kind of near the end of the semester, so like mid semester of the first half of the year. It was to do a comic, so basically just kind of like design a comic book, and you obviously you look up the references yourself. He didn't really give us much of a thing to start off with, other than just like comics. Just kind of look it up, just kind of just do what you want to do, and he'll grade you based off like the effort that you put into it. Obviously, it's not about like how well you drew it. It was mainly like the effort. So if you actually did the assignment, you pretty much get an A. So it was a fairly easy class. It was hard to get an F. It was easy to get an F. All you have to do is not do the assignment. So just put really low effort, like doodles, or not even doodles. I mean like stick figures. Like at least pose the stick figures. But like if you just like F, wasn't like you didn't even try. Now, I actually drew it in black and white. I wanted the yellow to kind of take the color, just wanted to make it the most important thing, mainly because coloring wasn't my thing, and I only had a Sharpie and a pencil, and I didn't really feel like having to get color pencils to actually color it in. It was half me being lazy, and the other half just me really figuring out how to do this because I didn't know lighting. I didn't know how to do lighting. I didn't even bother at looking references. Let me tell you, at that time, I thought references were kind of like cheating. I felt bad using references. I felt like, man, I shouldn't really be using references because I feel like for how long I've been drawing, I should be a professional already. You know, like, no, you shouldn't. But it's how I kind of felt, and I really could have used the references to kind of make it look better, or at least have the light, being a light because that's a candle. And I don't think a candle can light up that perfectly. Okay. So the reason why I redrew it, so it's in my room. I've had it. I've never threw it away because the paper is nice. It's really nice paper. It's thick, it's got texture, and I think it was one of those papers that you use for drafting, like for comics. And it reminds me, I do have another one that I could possibly do, but that's for later. Anyway, so that paper I had in the corner of my room, like at the very top corner. Really reluctant to throw it away because it was, should throw away your art. So I have like 30 plus sketchbooks, but I always look at it and it's like an egg. You know, it just makes no sense. Like, how could a candle be like that? And that was the one thing that I would criticize myself the most. Like, screw the anatomy, screw everything else. The lighting, that is awful. That lighting is awful. I swear, if I do that today, I'd be so disappointed in myself because, like I said, for how long I've been drawing, you know, I should at least, you know, make some improvements and think smarter in terms of like the resources that I have now, use all the technology and like internet sources, whatever. Like I should be using them now, which I am now because whew, that's so helpful when you don't go out the house that much. Now, the story behind why I named it Dark Days and why he's all beaten up and he has scars, which I forgot to put the scars in, but you're not gonna really see it. Like you'll know why you won't see it at the end, but you're not gonna see it. Now, the reason for why he's dressed like that, I was going for more like a slums type look, so like 1980s, 1970s. I don't think that's what they were in the 1980s, 1970s. I actually looked up some outfits, which is what I'm drawing right now. That is what I got, and I was like, it's pretty simple, you know. I want more like not like a peasant look, but not like a noble look. I wanted to look a bit like, you know, not poor, but like not rich. What I basically just said earlier. But the cuts and scars and whatnot, it was mainly supposed to be like he was in a dreadful area, you know, maybe focusing on poverty, how he's dressed, and all he had was a candle. Like, do you know that story about like the what is it, the girl and the light matchstick? She sells like matchsticks. That's what was kind of going through my head. So I kind of got inspired from it and did it with this one. Except he's not selling matchsticks. He's just trying to survive in the slums with like a candle to light his way because it's dark. Like he don't really ever see the light of day. I think I really don't know what was going through my head when I was doing this. I felt really proud when I did this drawing because it felt new. It felt like wow, I did something out of my comfort zone, which I really didn't. I don't think I did. Now, when I'm looking at oh god, geez, the art, you can tell. Like, look at the hands, okay? You gotta look at the hands. I gotta put it up again, but if you look at the hands, okay, they're like, do you see how he has one hand holding a candle and the other hand is like right holding his arm? I honestly did not know how to do perspective, so I was just like, okay, let's just put his hand holding his other hand while he's holding the candle, which makes absolutely no sense. Like, how are you gonna that makes no sense. And I really wanted to have him like both hands. The intention was both hands were supposed to carry that candle, but I didn't know how to like, you know, not make it look weird. It still looks weird, but I was just genuinely so confused. And like I said, I wasn't looking at resources. I wasn't really looking at like pictures. I forgot the word, but I wasn't looking at what I could look at to help me make it work. I have gone to the bathroom and take a picture of my like use myself as a reference, but I didn't. So that's why it looks wonky. His arms are stretched out, and it just doesn't look right. But like I said, I felt proud. I felt so proud when I finished that assignment. I was like, oh yeah, this is the greatest thing I've ever drawn in my life. But looking back at it now, like no, I could have used some improvements, like a lot of improvements, and that's why I decided to redraw it. Now, getting with the lighting, I looked up references. Yeah, I looked up references mainly on like holding a candle. It was kind of hard to find some that I really liked. I mean, they were just like looking for the hand positions. I did find a couple, though it did kind of look a bit. I don't know if it was the right hand or not, but it just looked a bit odd. At the end of the day, I think they looked fine. And for the lighting, so for the lighting, I grabbed a flashlight and I just looked at myself in the mirror and I just flashed the flashlight onto my face. Now, okay, I know, yeah, candle's not gonna be that strong. Okay, I didn't have a candle. I'm not gonna light a candle. I'm a bit skeptical of lighting candles in rooms, mainly because I have carpet. You know, like, I don't like. Can you imagine I accidentally drop that? Like, no, thank you. I'm not gonna take that risk. I'm not gonna like yeah, like be responsible. But I just can't do that. So I grabbed the flashlight. I looked at myself in the pictures and like kept on going back. I didn't take a picture. I just kept on going back and forth to the mirror, trying to like, outline where the light would shine. I adjusted the little flashlight, kind of like see how it'd be. The candle's more like under him, so I use myself as a reference. Use yourself as resources, or I mean references. And I saved two different versions. One was with the comic issue numbers and title, and the other one was just the drawing itself, just to have two. But thanks for watching, and I hope I see you guys again. Bye.